I don't like getting sick, but I love playing some sick-ass cards. And the virus trap cards are definitely disgusting blowouts that will make you vomit if you're on the receiving end. There are 5 of them out there, but I'll especially take a look at the 3 best ones. The first one covers spells and traps, and that would be Eradicator Epidemic Virus. Then there is a virus that covers monsters with low attack, and that would be Deck Devastation Virus. And finally, Crush Card Virus is a card that everybody knows, and it covers high attack monsters. The Virus Trap card all share something in common, and that would be their cost and also how they affect the opponent. They usually linger around for 3 turns, except Crush Card, which, because of the errata, only affects your opponent on activation. So Eradicator makes you tribute a dark monster with 2500 or more attack, whereas Deck Devastation Virus makes you tribute a monster with, I believe, 2000 or more attack, and finally Crush Card makes you tribute a monster with 1000 or less attack. I'll cover the applications for each virus first now. Eradicator is clearly broken against pretty much every single deck in the game out there. If you're playing against like Labyrinth or Trap Tricks or Eldritch or whatever that plays a lot of trap cards, you call traps and you win the game right on the spot. And against pretty much anything else, if you call like spell cards for example, you're making everybody lose anywhere between like 2 to 4 cards on average. And if you're playing against Sky Striker or Runic, oh boy man, they're discarding their whole hand. And like I said, even against the other decks, they're always discarding a bunch of spell cards because, again, who doesn't play spells in Yu-Gi-Oh? Look at the Kashtira deck, it literally plays more spell cards than monsters and traps at the same time, so you have a really high likelihood of making them discard 4 cards on their draw phase or standby. It's one of the best sided cards out there, and you can actually main deck one if you can search it consistently. If you want to play this card generically, I guess you can use Topologic Trisbania as a generic Link 3 target, but it's kind of a little hard to do because it's a Link 3 at the end of the day. But if you want to play this card in Sprite, for example, Gigantic is a really easy way to trigger it because you can actually get it to 3200 attack if you're using pretty much any kind of extra deck monster as a material. The next blowout is Deck Devastation Virus. This one is a joke to trigger. It's actually way easier than Eradicator because all you really need is like 2 effect monsters to link into Codebreaker Virus Swordsman. Oh, and by the way, that monster generically happens to be an Autu Baguska, so I strongly recommend looking into it. If you resolve Deck Devastation Virus against Sprite, you will most likely win the game on the spot. Let's take a look at Samir's deck list that actually won YCS London not too long ago. If you resolve Deck Devastation Virus against him, he loses every single monster in his hand and field except the extra deck monsters and Kashtira Fenrir. And you can actually play around them holding the Sprite starter, which is pretty much the only extender when they have like nothing, after, you know, they commit to a few actions first. Deck Devastation Virus can also be used against other more niche decks, but you don't really have to overcomplicate things. Oh, and by the way, the icing on the cake is that this card pretty much covers every single hand trap out there. And last, but kind of least, is Crush Card Virus. I'm not gonna pretend like the errata did nothing because it kinda hurt the card a little bit. Like I said, the virus no longer lingers for 3 turns, it only works on activation, well rather on resolution, and then after that, there's no lingering anymore. But nobody gives a shit about the next 3 turns when you're clearly going to be killing your opponent on the next turn. Crush Card is a virus that requires a weak monster to tribute and covers big monsters. So let's just say your deck can easily summon like level 4 or lower Cyberse monsters or level 1 monsters. You can super easily make a Lingribo or Linkribo and then use it as a tribute fodder for Crush Card and destroy the living crap out of Kashtira. Every single Kashtira monster in the main deck out there except Scareclaw Kashtira loses to Crush Card. So if they draw a hand of 6 monsters and you hit them with the Crush Card, they will cry. I'm not joking. But I'm not gonna lie, Eradicator should kind of also do a similar job because if you call spells, they're also losing the field spell, Pot of Prosperity, so many consistency cards that they'll probably just have like 2 cards in their hand anyways. And because of that, I want to say Crush Card is the worst one out of the 3 and Eradicator being the best one, Deck Devastation of course being a close second. But yeah, by the way, you can also play Crush Card Virus in Sprite because that deck can play like every single virus out there, so they can use Codebreaker Virus Swordsman for deck dev, Gigantic for Eradicator, and something like an Ibli for the Crush Card. So the Sprite deck is really good at playing the virus cards, but they're also really good at losing to Deck Devastation. With that knowledge in mind, you should now know how to use these cards and hopefully not lose to them. But that's pretty much all I have to say in Showcase for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace.